Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something literally all of us feel from time to time, why simply existing can sometimes feel incredibly burdensome. But more importantly, we're going to look at how a profound shift in perspective can change absolutely everything. So let's jump right in and uncover the secret to finding true lightness. Have you ever just felt like you're carrying the entire world on your shoulders? Like you're constantly fighting against friction just to get through an average Tuesday? Well, you are certainly not alone in this. The profound source text we're analyzing today offers a beautiful framework for understanding exactly why this happens and how we can finally escape that heavy gravity. Let's start with our first section, the horizontal struggle, digging a well with a needle. So let's dive into what our source material calls the horizontal plane. It's a concept that perfectly describes the root of all modern exhaustion. On this horizontal path, we try to force our way forward using sheer grit. The text defines it as a long, painful path of constant friction. It's that daily reality where we take every single step against the heavy winds of life, relying entirely on our own willpower. We collide with obstacles, we collide with our own egos, and we just slowly wear ourselves down trying to manage existence. And this brings us to the sheer futility of the horizontal approach. It's literally described as digging a well with a needle. I mean, think about that imagery for a second. Sure, with a needle, you might make some tiny bit of progress eventually, but look at the cost. You might deepen your understanding of the world, but it happens through absolute agonizing burnout, relentless friction, and total wear and tear. Moving on to our next section, the weight of the ego, owner versus trustee. Now, here is a totally fascinating twist from the text. The real source of your exhaustion isn't actually the physical world around you. Actually, scratch that. The true culprit is what the text identifies as the nafs, which translates to the self, or the ego. It's that part of our psychology that constantly insists on placing itself at the exact center of existence. It's that loud inner voice repeating, "I will do it, I will carry it, I will protect it." By insisting on doing everything, the ego places an invisible, crushing weight upon its own shoulders. It's trying to carry the universe completely alone. This brilliantly illustrates the difference between being an owner and a trustee. The owner attempts to carry the entire invisible burden of life, trying to control everything and revolving entirely around the self. But the trustee, they possess a deep serenity. They know the burden isn't ultimately theirs to hold forever. They carry life as a trust, revolving around a much greater center, turning their own helplessness into a doorway to infinite power. Just listen to how this beautiful couplet captures the idea. The one who leans upon himself grows weary with every breath, but the soul that clings to trust turns skyward like a bird. When you finally stop relying solely on your own limited power, your soul is freed from gravity. You transform from that exhausted owner into an uplifted trustee. Next up, the vertical ascent, catching the elevator. So, what actually happens when we finally realize our weakness, accept our limits, and stop trying to pry open life's doors by sheer force? We pivot entirely to the vertical axis. Instead of grinding forward horizontally through exhausting self-reliance, the vertical ascent changes the game. It's like swapping that tiny, frustrating needle for a high-speed elevator. This ascent isn't fueled by your own pushing. It's fueled by surrender, traveling to truth at an incredible speed. This moment of upward turning allows the soul to catch the wings of divine attraction, which the text identifies as love and ecstasy. As the quote notes, "Let the weeping dervish, fallen into love and passion, cry." Leaving worldly burdens firmly behind allows for a profound emotional longing that actually pulls you upward. It's in a sense driven by passion for truth, rather than forced effort. Which brings us to the magnetic pull of truth. Now, you might be assuming this massive spiritual ascent takes years of grueling intellectual struggle, right? Well, the explainer reveals a much more immediate magic at play. The moment your heart sincerely turns, you become exactly like iron pulled by a magnet. The vertical axis isn't just you desperately reaching up into the void. It's mercy actively opening itself toward you. You enter a field of unseen divine attraction the very second you turn sincerely toward truth. Look at the sheer scale of this dynamic in the text. One step turned toward truth invites 1,000 breaths of grace. Just one sincere step is met with an overwhelming response. A single moment of true surrender can equal what might otherwise take years of horizontal struggle. When your heart finds its direction, the roads simply unfold by themselves. How amazing is that? And this leads to a brilliant paradox. we ascend into the sky of truth, not by growing physical wings, but by laying down our heavy burdens. True ascent is actually the ego descending downward. Pride is exactly what makes you heavy. It's what makes you exhausted. Surrender, on the other hand, makes you wonderfully light. You rise by letting go. Let's bring this down to earth in our final section, anchoring in the now, the gravity of reality. To actually take this profound lightness and apply it to our daily reality, we have to ask ourselves a pretty uncomfortable question. Which plane of time are you living in right now? This right here is humanity's greatest fatigue. Our physical bodies are living in the present, the now, which is our absolute only point of contact with reality. Yet our minds, they scatter. We drift backward, drowning in the memories and resentments of the past, or we scatter forward into the possibilities and fears of a future that hasn't even happened yet. But the undeniable reality is that truth constantly enters only through the door of the now. Think about it. Water is drunk now. Love is felt now. Compassion is shown now. You cannot touch life in the past or the future. Life is genuinely experienced only in the present moment. So we have to be really careful to keep our mental faculties in check. The text contrasts healthy imagination with daydreaming. Art, science, hope, they all require imagination. It gives us direction. But if we let imagination become excessive daydreaming, it actually alienates us from reality. It becomes the sneaky escape from our actual responsibilities, where we start deriving pleasure merely from designing a life in our heads rather than actually living it. And the exact same balancing act applies to how we view the past. Memories should anchor us. Healthy roots provide belonging and loyalty. But if we slip into excessive nostalgia, we begin to over-idealize what was. As a result, today becomes completely devalued, and we mistakenly feel that our real life was somehow left behind us. To actually master this balance, the text provides 3 absolutely brilliant rules for protecting your mental peace. 1. Let the past be a root, not a heavy chain that holds you back. 2. Let the future be a direction you aim for, not a fearful escape from today. And 3. Let your imagination be an inspiration for action, not something that numbs you into immobilization. By strictly treating the past as a root and the future as a direction, you allow your soul to gather itself in the absolute healthiest way possible. It gathers exactly where it belongs, right at the point of contact with reality. It centers itself in the simple, vibrant, and deeply real now. That, my friends, is where true peace is found. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. Are you going to keep trying to dig a well with a needle? Will you continue to carry the heavy world entirely alone as an owner on that exhausting horizontal plane? Or are you finally ready to catch the elevator, embrace your role as a trustee, and surrender into the profound lightness of the now? Think about that as you go through the rest of your day. Thank you so much for exploring these powerful concepts with me.